Did you know that cars have event data recorders similar to the recorders in planes? Well, these recorders can actually help shed light on what causes accidents. Sounds like the perfect thing for Toyota considering the mess it's in. But think again. CNN's Deborah Farrick reports.
These houses, the trees, the white metal fence, they were some of the last things Monty Hardy saw the day he and 3 friends died.
Mr. Hardy had a perfect driving record. Then all of a sudden his car shoots through a stop sign, crashes through a metal fence, ricochets off a tree, and winds up upside down in a pond.
What happened inside that 2008 Toyota Avalon? It wasn't the floor mats. Those were in the trunk, right where Hardy put them after receiving Toyota's recall notice a few weeks earlier. It wasn't a seizure. Although Hardy was on medication, the autopsy ruled that out. So what really happened? What if the car could talk? Well, essentially it can. Most vehicles have what's commonly called a black box, known as an event data recorder, or EDR.
In those kinds of accidents, EDR data is going to be invaluable.
Sean Dennis is a forensic engineer who reconstructs car crashes for law firms and insurance companies.
You see it's hidden kind of way up underneath the dash
all the way
up there.
Down. Yep. The black box is tied into the airbag system and records 2 to 5 seconds of pre-crash data, things like engine speed, throttle, brakes, accelerator, seat belts.
So we see here at 2.3 seconds before, before the crash, this driver has gone from brakes off to brakes on.
Chrysler, GM, and Ford give people like Dennis access to the information through a crash data reader anyone can buy. But it's for any car that's compatible with this particular system.
That's correct.
And Toyota is not compatible with this system.
That's correct.
Toyota calls its black boxes experimental and says the data is only for research and development and not reliable for accident reconstruction.
I think it is. If it provides, any kind of data to me about what's going on with the vehicle, it can be used as a reconstruction tool, without a doubt.
Lawyers for the Hardy family thought so too, but Toyota requires individuals to get a court order. Instead, police and federal regulators stepped in, compelling Toyota to download and decipher the data, which only its own engineers are trained to do. The data the Hardys were expecting was apparently nowhere to be found.
What we see is a section here to record brake and acceleration, and there's nothing. They have, for whatever reason, they've decided not to program their boxes to record this information.
Are you suggesting that perhaps Toyota does not want its cars to record what's going on with the braking or the acceleration system?
We know that they are not programming it to collect. That's what we know, and it makes us very, very suspicious.
There is no law yet specifying which data automakers must record. Toyota says the information they record depends on what features the vehicle has and what kind of data they want to know. The only information the Hardy family did get was speed, 45 miles an hour or 15 miles over the limit, leaving them and their lawyers still searching for answers.
If you're confident that your car is safe and that it's working in a safe manner, you should want to be able to document that all the systems were functioning properly. It makes me think that they have something to hide.
So Deb Farrick now joining us from New York. So the black boxes, do they record continuously, just like on airplanes?
Well, they don't. They only record the 5 seconds prior to the crash. There's no voice, there are no images, but still, it contains a lot of very significant data that helps these forensic engineers put together what was happening in the seconds prior to the crash. Toyota has really limited that amount of information, at least that you can get through the black box.
All right, Deb Farrick, thanks so much from New York. Appreciate that report.
More issues for Toyota. Mark, you talked a little bit about this. We've got lots of attorneys. Oh, what a shock. Lots of attorneys now involved with Toyota. Sometimes cleaning up the mess can be a lot worse than the mess itself, huh, Phil?
And the mess is going to start playing out tomorrow at a courtroom in San Diego. That's where a number of the lawyers who are representing class action suits, and 118 have been filed around the country. They're going to gather to take a look at whether or not they consolidate this into one giant national case. And when you look at the cases Toyota is facing when it comes to recall-related issues, you can break it down into certain categories. Certainly, there are a number of people filing lawsuits over a diminished value of the car. They want to be compensated. The drop in the stock price. This is an interesting set of lawsuits that are going to be presented where people think they should be compensated because the stock has dropped since the recall started. And then there are individual injury and death incidents. Those are the point of some lawsuits. One that's getting a lot of attention involves a crash the day after Christmas just outside of Dallas. A family of 4 people, the family of the Avalon driver who was driving this car that crashed into a lake. It's suing Toyota. 4 people died in this accident. The driver's wife, his widow, Monty Hardy's family, claims that the Avalon was defective, and the attorney for the family says they believe that you connect the dots, Toyota should pay.
Toyota is very good at taking one consumer complaint about sudden unintended acceleration and dissecting it and convincing you it may have been a floor mat or a driver error or a sticky pedal. But when you put all those complaints out on the table, then you can see the big picture. That's how you connect the dot.
Meanwhile, for Toyota executives, Akio Toyoda and Yoshi Inaba, along with other executives, the more troubling issue may be class action lawsuits. There are more than 100 that have been filed. It could cost Toyota billions of dollars. Many Toyota owners could benefit, even if they're not initially part of these class action suits. Some owners are even asking for payments to be repaid for the lower residual value of their Toyota since the recall started.
20% hit because it's a Toyota, or they're being told by the dealer, like I just read from the one fellow, we don't want to take a car that might kill someone. So what's happening out in the marketplace, I think, is different from what those industry analysts are telling you.
For more on the legal cases facing Toyota, which, by the way, we tried to reach the company for a comment and did not receive one. If you want more on these cases and what's facing Toyota, check out the blog behindthewheel.cnbc.com. Mark?
All right, thank you, Phil LeBeau.